What's up? What's up? It's your boy Mean Joe Green, aka Prince of the Ghetto, coming back with another reaction. And on this one, we got the Honorable Judge Mathis stating his opinion on this Nolan Wells case. As we all know, I'm sure everyone heard different things about what's going on. And I mean, justice needs to be served, and the evidence is stacked up, but it still feels like justice is not getting served. So I'm gonna react on some of these things Judge Mathis was talking about in this interview, and he's on point, straight up. So with no further ado, let's get into it.
Judge Mathis, happy to have you back, my man. So much I want to get into. Had to bring you back on to follow up on this Nolan Wells case, man.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yes, indeed. So much to get into. I don't want to waste no time. I want to get right into it. How you feel about this second autopsy that was done on Nolan Wells?
Yes, I think when we last spoke, we were awaiting the forensic autopsy because the original autopsy performed by the county examiner, we just weren't convinced it would be independent, quite frankly, because we weren't getting enough information from law enforcement. And so the forensic autopsy came back. And lo and behold, even though they're trying to downplay it, and I understand Ben Crump and NAACP and others don't want to try and jump to conclusion or step too far out, but the forensic autopsy showed that there was what they call discoloration. No, I call them bruises in the back of the head, appearing that someone has had their hand pressed at the back of their head, at the back of Nolan's head. That's
Now look, they discovered that he had bruises on the back of his head. And they not talking about this. And the guys that he was with still free, still out here like they had nothing to do with nothing. But the autopsy said that he had bruises in the back of his head. Meaning, what were they doing? Beating him or holding his head in the water or something? Come on.
concerning to me. And so hopefully we'll get some more insight on that. I'm not sure. It seems like there's another opportunity for them to investigate something physiological. I'm just not sure because as far as I knew, the forensic autopsy is as far as you go, but we'll see. But yeah, that's what causes new concern. And then you've had different stories coming out from the teenagers. One of the young men himself spoke out about it, claiming they had begged Nolan to get on the boat, and that he wouldn't. Then there's the woman that he's supposed to have stayed back with. I think her name Katie or something. Well, he was supposed to have stayed back with Katie. That was their story. However, Katie's friend says that she saw him only in passing on the island, didn't stay with him, and Katie isn't saying anything at all. So it's a lot of moving parts here, and I'm just hoping it's not one of those, quite frankly, and if his friends didn't have anything to do with it and they truly left him behind, etc., etc. He has discoloration, bruises on the back of his neck. Something happened. And quite frankly,
Of course, something happened. He was missing. Once they find him, autopsy, bruises in the back of the neck. The guys that he was with, it's no sugarcoat. You can tell that something was wrong, something didn't go right. And then I heard, I should have uploaded that, but I heard the 911 call that they called to the trying to get help from their boat. They were saying that their boat was sinking, and there was someone in the guy saying, is he up? What's wrong? They in the background, like not knowing that he probably was passing away. But I think that they did something when they called. They tried to help, but when they found out that he was gone and dead, that's when they decided to do whatever they did. And that's why Nolan was missing. And that's why this situation is happening right now, why they hiding something. And then the family members and the people that they know they lawyered up. And now that's who helping them. But I can guarantee you, if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was 4 black men and 1 white guy, and they would have came up with that evidence with the phone call and heard all that in the background. And then the guys, they didn't even need help. They went on here and said they boats were sinking. Do not send the Coast Guard, but then come to find out it's not sinking anymore. They don't need the help. Everything was just suspicious. And I can't believe that those guys are not sitting in a county jail somewhere. If they was out maybe on bond, getting ready to face what any other law-abiding citizen would have to face. But let's hear more from Judge Mathis.
This is Mississippi, where in 1955, which sparked the civil rights movement, Emmett Till was killed for so-called whistling at a white woman. And now we're hearing Nolan Wells stayed back to be with a white woman, and he turns up dead with bruises behind his neck. That's the context I'm putting this in. It's Emmett Till, perhaps, all over.
Wow, so you feel like the dynamics between Nolan Wells and Emmett Till is similar?
Well, the dynamics are the same. He's with a white woman, or allegedly said something with, or however you view it, with a white woman, and there's a suspicion that white men killed him. And that was the case with Emmett Till. He so-called whistled as a kid. 13 was he? Whistled so-called the woman at the store. White woman says he whistled at her. What happened? White men killed him. And that's why I'm making that analogy. But it could altogether be untrue. But I'm making the analogy as a possibility. And that is the case of my thought processes.
That's a good analogy. They claim that he was left behind with a white woman, end up unalive behind a white woman. Same with Emmett Till. They claim he whistled at the white woman, end up white man unalived him for them saying that he whistled at a white woman. And it's all looking bad because it's all in the state of the Mississippi. Everybody know Mississippi is everybody look at Mississippi like it's the most racist state in the U.S. You know, so much came from Mississippi. Those civil rights leaders was unalive down here. You know, a lot of hanging, a lot of movies portrayed about Mississippi burning. So when a lot of people think of Mississippi, the first thing come to mind most of the time is racism. And now you got a black guy left with his white friends, end up unalive, and his white friends don't know anything. And now look, the internet capture got a hold to this, and the whole world, this is how everybody see this situation. In the state of Mississippi, I'm not sure if the governor, all them, they got to know this. And look how it's playing.
Actually, bruises behind his neck.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, what else? Why is it only there in the back of your neck, which is coincidentally how you drown somebody? You put the head in the back of the neck and not let them up, and they try and push up, but you got the head down, so the head bruises in the back of the neck because somebody tried to hold it down or did.
Big facts. Bruises in the back of the neck, head down. Could it be they was playing and like they was trying to scare him, but then they realized they went overboard and he actually drowned, and then they panicked, and could it be that way? Or did they just sneak behind him and hit him in the back of the head and the neck? Mess something up, and who knows? I mean, the situation is it don't make sense. It's crazy. It don't make sense, but then it do make sense because he was found drowned in that ocean.
It hold it down. I'm only presenting the facts, and I only made the analogy to Emmett Till because it's the same optics. However, do I know whether it's the same? Do I know any of the factors that I'm suggesting is accurate? No, but I am making observations about the facts as I see them. And then I am, yes, speculating. And quite frankly, in the law, you're not supposed to speculate. You're supposed to have hard facts. But in this case, since nobody's given us any hard facts, we can't get in the information that we need, then yes, we're left to only speculate.
His organs was missing during his autopsy, right?
Yeah, and they allege now that that's standard. I'm not sure about that, so I can't tell you. I don't know about autopsies in that sense. But they said one of his lungs, and then parts of his throat, and I read that that's typical, but I just don't know.
Wow, man, this is throw. I mean, like Judge say, we can only speculate because they is not presenting any facts. They not the evidence that they have is like they trying to hold it under. They don't, want that. You could tell that somebody's on the payroll, in my opinion. They lawyered up, like they say. We in the state of Mississippi. Every all of them know each other, and it look like they standing behind one another, and they trying to sweep this case under the rug. But I'm glad we got people like Judge Mathis. The world is on this and speaking out on this because justice needs to be served, and this needs to come to an end. Because if they keep getting away with it, they're gonna keep doing these things. So just like the law is for everybody. Same law. They need to be under these laws and punished for the crime and wrong that they do as well as poor people and other people that don't know higher ups. So I'm glad that people like Judge Mathis them is on this, and now the state of Mississippi and they laws and how they do things, they need to understand when you're wrong, you're wrong. You get punished like everyone else. And I hope I hope the truth comes out. And if those guys had anything to do with it, may their punishment be as harsh as any other person. I'm going to leave it at this. If y'all want to look at the rest of this interview, you can go to the Art of Dialogue. It was a good interview. And I'm glad Judge Mathis put his opinion on this because, this case is worldwide. Everybody's watching. And now the pressure is on. Mississippi gotta do better. Straight up. It's your boy Mean Joe Green, y'all. And I always love. And I'm up out.